Oh, hello there. Didn't realize you were recording me. So today I'll be telling you about everything I've learned in this class. I have my binder right here with all my tabs, and I'm going to go through some of the things I learned through this marketing class. First of all, my name is Nick Young. I'm from Washington, D.C. I was born and raised there. I came down here about 2 years ago, and I did some undergrad here for about a year or so. Now I'm fifth quarter DC. Um, and so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about everything I've learned. I'm going to run through each of the week's assignments and what I took from each assignment. And so I'll start with assignment 1. I also have my binder here, but I'll get to that later. All right, so the first assignment was talking about the order of occurrence, like the practice of growth, management last and not first. So basically, what are you going to do to your practice for how to make your practice grow, essentially. And so the biggest thing that that first assignment taught me was that you really need to have personal growth for your business. So your own personal growth will actually change the business, and you really have to make sure you have good management skills. So basically, a lot of having a successful business isn't just like doing good in the business or making a difference in that sense, but it's also about finding yourself and learning from your mistakes. And so it's making sure that you really are growing in that sense and not making the same mistake over and over again, and you really learn from your mistakes. And so that really taught me that in that sense. Another thing, as far as leadership and vision and power, and how I experienced that in my life, his vision was the ability to give people an image of themselves or their organization as bigger than the image they hold on their own. So basically, making sure that that image is not just reflecting themselves, but other people. So basically being a good example to other people and not just doing it for yourself. And that really helps because, I'm personally in this business to change lives, and I want to have some personal growth too, but I also want to make sure I'm making a difference for other people. In order to do that, I can't just necessarily be focusing on myself all the time, and I got to really hold up an image to where other people can look up to me and stuff. And so the biggest thing I've done over the years is mature and connect with people I haven't seen in a long time. This is the only true way I've really been able to grow, because or see how much I've grown, because you really see how much differently the conversations go and how different people change in a good way generally over the years. So it really gives me a sense of improvement to see how I need to improve my life, maybe improve my image, or kind of give myself a little gratitude for how far I've come. So that was for vision, and then for power, the trick is to not making excuses, and making the change I need to actually make a difference in the world. So basically portraying my true vision. And so the way I did that was making an executive decision and deciding that I wanted to be a chiropractor, not just being a regular exercise science major and being a personal trainer for my whole life. And so and then going to the last thing about the first assignment: what is your primary clinical focus of a chiropractor, regardless of the reasons a patient sought care? So you should always be focusing, if you're a chiropractor, you should always be focusing on finding and fixing vertebral subluxations. So that's really important, and I definitely am going to use that in my practice. So that was the first assignment. I thought it was really good. It kind of lets you think outside the box a little bit, see what you need to work on, and gives you a few words to describe how you want to grow and how you want your practice to look like. So I'll pull up my second assignment here. The clinical goal of LifeU's degree program, based on our vision statement, is to do what? And the clinical goal of Life University degree program is to maximize the expression of perfection within. So this kind of goes with like adjusting vertebral subluxations from assignment 1. You kind of want to bring out the best in people. In order to do that, you have to really find your true health and find a good balance. And in order to do that, you have to adjust vertebral subluxation, make sure people are healthy, and then that'll maximize the expression that you can live of not just a perfection within, but your true innate. So all that goes hand in hand together. And the 4 things you can control for the practice management formula are new patients, patient visit averages, average fee per visit, and overhead. So these are the things when you get very technical on things you can measure on your growth. So personal growth is good and like it's important to grow, but you need to have measures for your business on ways to improve. And these are 4 things you can physically control to measure yourself on how you're doing and setting goals for the future. So some of these office factors that affect those that formula right there are philosophy, patient education, staff. Philosophy is very important. People aren't going to want to come to you if you don't believe in vertebral subluxations if you're adjusting it, because that's quite a contraindication. Patient education is pretty important too, for sure, because the patients need to know what they're paying for and that what you're doing won't harm them and will actually help them. And then, of course, staff is very important. So, you want to make sure your staff is, high quality and is educating their patients and is setting a good example for, it helps set a good example for the office based on your beliefs and everything in general. Define management by agreement. Explanation of care, costs and consequences, and agreement to proceed. So that's basically just talking about when you meet with a patient before they are actually a patient of yours, they have to agree on these terms. So they, basically it's their consent saying that they're willing to proceed with the treatment process. So that has to be done for every patient before they are adjusted. All right, and then I also did the yes consultation with a friend. My friend was Rebecca here, and the major reason I'll just run through it. I asked her what the major reason was that she consulted the office. It was neck pain for her. We have a lot of people who have consulted us for the problems like that, and then I proceeded to explain the steps of what to do, and we started with a case history, a physical exam, thorough chiropractic exam, x-rays unless something indicates otherwise, and on the next visit we'll review everything I found, and then I'll ask her if she wants to proceed with the previous agreement, management recommendations with the explanation of care, costs, agreement to proceed, and I'll ask her if she's willing to accept that. So I did that with Rebecca, and it was a good little practice run because I'm going to be doing that on a day-to-day basis once I'm in practice, so I thought that was really important. So that finishes up assignment 2. Now going over to assignment 3. What are 3 exams performed on visit 1? We already talked about that. Physical exam, chiropractic exam, case history review. You always, every time someone comes in your office, you look at their spine to see if they have a vertebral subluxation. And so then going on about that, there are 2 parts of the vertebral subluxation exam. And analysis of x-rays and chiropractic exam findings. So these are the 2 ways we use, these are the 2 tools we use to diagnose vertebral subluxation. And then continuing on, what are 3 reports given to the patient during reported findings? So we're going to tell them the case history finding, the chiropractic exam findings, and x-rays findings. That's just, so the patient knows what their results are, and it kind of gives them some information before they say yes to proceeding with care. And so then there's 5 components of the vertebral subluxation complex, and there's spinal kinesiology, which is hypermobility, compression reactions, stuff like that. There's neuropathophysiology, which is graphing pattern work. There's myopathology, which is spasticity, physicity, muscle testing. Histopathology is, we can look at disc degeneration. And pathophysiology, we generally do bones, x-rays, stuff like that. And what is the management by agreement decision made by the patient at the conclusion of progressive reported findings? It is whether or not the patient is ready to agree based on the care based on the doctor's findings and assessments. So that's basically the last thing that they sign before they start care, as I've already mentioned. So that's assignment 3. I thought that was good. It was kind of a recap of assignment 2, but it digged a little bit more into the vertebral subluxation complex, which is our main focus as chiropractors. All right, and so then going on to assignment 4, 3 goals in order of importance of the healthcare class, new patient orientation. You want to talk about new patients, personal motivation, patient education. So, you want to get these patients all fired up because taking care of their health is the main objective here. We're not medical doctors that are prescribing a pill, we have to make these patients know that they have to work for some of their health. And so in order to do that, we have to educate them. And so that's a big part of the new patient orientation, is letting them know what they're going to have to do, and they're going to have to make some changes. And what they're going to have to change in their life with some daily habits. And so in a 1 hour class, how many concepts are typically covered? Normally, like 13 concepts are usually covered in 1 hour class, according to the video we saw online. And, that's a decent amount. I mean, if you think about it, for 1 hour, if you're going over 13 different things that could possibly change your life or health, if you are seeing some person that is doing something major in their life, like say, for example, they're going to bed at 5 in the morning, and you cover one of the concepts in class of going to bed early. And next thing you know, a lot of their chronic health issues go away because you educated them about going to bed early. You just made a difference right there. And if you cover 13 concepts in a 1 hour class, then that new patient orientation could really change the patient's life. So, this 1 hour, even just 1 hour with a new patient can really change your life if you think about it in that sense. Is it advisable to end the NPO with Q's and A's? So this is talking about how you want to end a meeting with someone, or just with a group, and you want to let the group know that you're open to questions after the presentation rather than open to floor public questions. And that's because a lot of people don't end up asking their questions in front of other people. They tend to shy away unless it's a really pressing question and they don't mind speaking in big groups. But a lot of people actually like to keep the questions themselves and would rather talk to you one-on-one after, and they think they would get more of a, less of a superficial answer, more of a deep answer inside, and they would really get more out of it than asking in front of everyone, even though other people would benefit from you answering that question in front of them. It still would allow them to open up more and be more comfortable with just one-on-one. And so what is the most common connector? And in order for you to understand A, I must first explain B. They already talked about that in the video, so I'll just skip that. What is the fire drill? It is the actual mechanics of signing up new patients and getting them under chiropractic care at the end of the new patient orientation. So basically, this is a little drill where you work with getting new patients under chiropractic care at the end of the new patient orientation. So it's really good. You really benefit from it a lot because once you're in the real world, it's no fun and games. So you really got to practice with that, working and making sure that you can get new patients. All right, so that's the end of assignment 5. Sorry.
4.
Sorry, assignment 4. All right. What are the 4 major categories of marketing plan?
How are you?
One is internal procedure, internal special event, external procedure, and external special event.
Stop laughing. You have 2 minutes.
All right. So, out of all these categories, the NPO. All right. What does the NPO fit into the categories? All right. I'm sorry. Back to this. All right. Assignment 5. So the NPO. So when we were talking about earlier, why it's not good to ask questions in front of a big group. What doesn't fit into the category consistently of the new patient orientation is internal procedure. All right. Normally, we want to do, you don't really focus necessarily on what you're going to do. You focus on other techniques.
Why don't you just talk about your binder for a minute?
All right. Wrapping up here. Sorry about all that. We'll skip that along. It was already explained in the video. On visit 10, what are some practice options you will give your patients in your practice to be used to introduce their friends to your practice? So a big trick with new patients is referrals. So you educate the new patients on the treatment they're about to receive and some new tricks for their health and what they should expect for the treatment process. And then you want to talk about possible referrals and letting other people know about what you're going to do with them. And then you really want to have them take home a form on the 9th visit and bring back on the 10th visit, making sure that they are educating their family about it and possibly bringing in more people. Another way you can do is bring a friend along with you in a visit. You can bring a friend to a healthcare class, even the new patient orientation. I know my mom went to that originally with my chiropractor when I first got adjusted back in 10th grade. So there you go. So that was the 5 assignments in the class. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about my binder right here. So this is my little binder right here. It's a research binder with the following tabs. I have the vertebral subluxations, the first tab. Then I got the wellness development care. So going back, so we'll start with the vertebral subluxation complex tab. So this is basically what I'll just explain to them that, I'll explain to them about vertebra, what it is in their spine, and that it has a minor dislocation, the little definition of a subluxation. So I'll tell them about that. And it'll just be along that line in the vertebral subluxation complex. Moving right along, as I said earlier, the wellness development care, we'll tell them about, it's not just adjusting subluxation, it's about treating the whole body, exercise, diet, lifestyle, and vertebral subluxation. So then we're going to do subluxation care base. So we're going to talk about, stuff like that, more about the subluxation, what they should expect. Then we're going to talk about chiropractic, spinal. We want to let them know that this is the way we get to the nervous system. And then we're going to do functional neurology and chiropractic. So we're going to talk about how the brain and the spinal cord are interconnected and how they play a big role together. So we'll kind of just educate them, some physiology there. Moving right along, we'll have the current mechanic system. So we'll talk about other systems in the body, how they work. Another one, we'll talk about bad medicine. So basically, we want to let these patients know that they got to work for the health, and nothing is just given to them. So we want to kind of get them out of the mindset of typical Western medicine. And then new vitalistic system and other research that is relevant. So there's a lot of research out there in PubMed and stuff. Just describing what chiropractors do and the validity behind it, and so I'll just give them some research right there in that part. So that was my first binder. So we're done with that. And so then, okay, so that was the first binder, and then the second binder, we're gonna give. I'm gonna have all my practice management files. Kind of like a soap thing for my office. I don't know where I put. Oh, it's over here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is my second one. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this one is gonna have the pre-visit. So I'm gonna tell them about what they should expect for their first visit. So I have that first tab right here. Then the second one's going to have a healthcare class, so I'm going to make sure that each patient knows that different healthcare classes every month, educating them on different things that they can do for their health besides just getting adjusted. Report of findings, so I'll have the report of findings here, give them all the information of the findings I had with their physical examination, chiropractic findings, all that jazz, x-rays and stuff too. I'll tell them all about it. If they want to take it home, I can give them the x-rays as well. Progressive exam, so I'm going to give them, all my comprehensive exam findings, whether I did range of motion all the way to, I could give them a Zyto scan with the finger thing, sending the signal to each organ. I can do that. I can do, I could give them the, there's another one with the parasympathetic and the sympathetic one. I could give them all those findings in there. I know my doctor at home used that. I can't remember the name. I remember the Zyto scan, though. That was a good scan. And then that's basically the main things I'll have in the binder for the new patient. This basically is something that they can take home with them and they can think about before they go with care. So this is a really important binder. The other binder is more for just them getting a general idea of what they're getting into. And then this is more of the facts and report findings, exam findings, and kind of the terms of what to expect once they start care. And the other one is, like I said, just a little more like if they want to know a little extra information about certain things about what's going on. And so, and I think that's basically it. So I'll give them both these binders after they have their visits, just to let them know what's going on for care. But as far as that goes, that's basically it. So here are my 2 binders right here. I already went over all the information that I learned in this course. I thought it was a really great course. I really appreciate Life University offering this course and having it really teach me a few important lessons throughout the assignments and working with these binders. And hopefully it'll help me become a better chiropractor. So thank you. Toodaloo.